So good morning and welcome to the Namaste experience on this beautiful Wednesday morning. We're breathing in the cool, crisp air. Yes, I'm glad you can feel it too as well. So because every breath is a prayer, why don't we just breathe together a few times and let our prayers and our breath lift us above all of these earthly attractions into that state of holy oneness that we share. Just take a few deep breaths and feel that energy building inside you. The gratitude for being here this moment, fully present, fully awake, ready to play the role that was given to us before time began. Say with me, I am here. I am here. Once again, I am here right now, in this moment, ready and aware, fully prepared to step into that ocean of grace. So it is. So it is. So once again, welcome to all of you. So good to have you all here. And we're going to look once again at the vital necessity of your uncompromised attention to the truth. Your uncompromised focus on reality. And rather than trying to mix the real and the unreal to try and find something in the middle, which is the rope that the ego gives to us, just enough to what?
Hang ourselves.
Hang ourselves, right? Just enough rope to wrap it around it well.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going. But this idea that we can mix the unreal with the real is what keeps us bound to the unreal, because the real, the truth, is what it is because it is holy. It is whole. We'll stop there. It is whole. And what is whole, as we've said so many times, can never be divided, because then it's no longer whole. And this is a wholeness that is eternal. This is a wholeness that is always fully present within each one of us. And though it may seem that we're separate, though it may seem that we are moving through a world of separation, there is a way out. There is an escape hatch. And the escape hatch is simply to be resolute in your uncompromising desire for only the real, for only love. And as we've been saying, the most uncompromising statement that could ever exist in this world, whatever this is, wherever it is, the most true uncompromising statement that can be made is only love is real, period. Only love. And my willingness to choose to see that is my escape hatch, is the way out of the dream. But there are certain tricks that have been played on us that keep control over us, that keep us bound to this world of illusions. And they're tricks that we're so accustomed to that we don't even realize they're there. We're going to talk about one of them today. But I'm looking at the back of the room, and the lesson for the day says, a happy outcome to all things is sure. It is sure, a happy outcome. In other words, this will all end in light just as it began. There is no other possibility. What began and was born in light remains. Now we can close our eyes if we want, and we can imagine a whole nother world that has laws very different than the laws of heaven. But just because we imagine those laws does not make it true. And yet there are tricks of the ego that keep our eyes closed, that keep us locked in that dream. And one is the so-called continuity that we claim in this world. So I want to read a little something that I wrote about that. So just take this in. You believe this world is real because it seems to offer consistent laws that do not change, or continuity that can be trusted. Continuity that can be trusted. But is this really true? Are you ready to consider the possibility that this is the trick that keeps you bound to a world where illusions appear as real and reality is believed to be an illusion? If you are, then you're ready to step with confidence into a world where reality is never questioned or questionable, and the laws of God remain unchanged forever. If you're ready to give up all the ways that we try to mix reality with illusions, trying to find a safe place within the dream, trusting laws that aren't really there, and outcomes that never even occurred. If we're ready for that now, then we're ready to take that single step. Because that's all it is, one step. Not a physical step, but a step in the mind, a choice. The choice to see, the choice to know, from faith into certainty, to know that only love is real. And once that light flashes, we cling to that. We don't waver, we don't go back into the dream where love is real only under certain circumstances. Love is real if you agree with me. All of these relative realities. There's no such thing as a relative reality in heaven. There's only the real. So let's move on. There is a parallel. Oh, sorry. There it is. There is a parallel between the world you perceive in your so-called awake life and the life that you experience when you're asleep and dreaming. So listen to this and you'll understand what I mean. You believe that the world you experience when you're awake is real because you wake up in the same bed you went to sleep in. Isn't that funny? When you go to sleep at night, you go to a whole nother world that has other laws, other realities. But when you wake up from that world, where are you? In the same bed. So you take that as what? Evidence. This is evidence. There's consistency. I'm consistently waking up in the same bed. So this must be real. Or that the relationships that you have from one day to the next remain relatively consistent. But is this relative consistency that needs to be, it is this relative consistency that needs to be questioned now. If you were asleep right now and someone appeared in the dream, this is important. If someone appeared to your dream last night and asked, how old were you the first time you fell in love? Or where were you living when you were 22 years old? You would give them an appropriate answer. Let's just stop there for a minute. If you were in your dream tonight, you're sleeping, you're dreaming of whatever it is you're dreaming, with whatever people are in your dream. Someone walks up to you in your dream and says, how old were you when you first fell in love? You're going to say, well, I was 18 and her name was this or his name was that. And you're going to tell the story because in the dream, there is consistency. You remember things that happened before. But the question is, did they really happen before? Or is this a trick of the mind to create a relative consistency that makes you believe in the authenticity or the reality of your experience? or the world that you created. This is important because once again, wherever you find yourself, there's going to seem to be that consistency because that's the tool, that's the trick. You would even recall memories from those times, and you would use them as proof that they actually occurred. And here it is. It's only when you wake up in the morning that you realize the dream was never real, and the stories you took for reality were fiction. That's easy to understand because we all go to sleep at night and we all have dreams. We all wake up from those dreams. So we can relate to that. But now let's apply that to this so-called awake reality. It is exactly the same when you wake up in the real world. When you wake up in the real world, you realize that the consistent evidence you used to make this world seem real was all in your mind. Just as the world you experienced in your nighttime dream is all in your mind. Yes, you seem to draw from real memories and consistent stories, but at no time are you bound. That's the key. Are you bound to the laws that make those stories reality? So the first thing you're going to think is, what is he taking away from me? This is going to be the first little hook that the ego is going to use. Wait, don't take away my memories. Don't take away all those beautiful things that happened to me when I was a child. Don't try and steal all of the great things that happened to me with my partner or my family or my friends. Nothing is being stolen from you in eternity. In the eternal experience where you can know all and experience all, nothing is taken from you. The only thing that's being taken from you is the limitation of those experiences. Being bound to them instead of expanding into the allness of creation. What will you do now that you've heard this put so simply and so clearly? Will you throw up your hands and run out the door? Or will you lift your voice in praise to the one who has guaranteed your safety in every imagined reality? Once again, will you lift your voice in praise when you begin to really experience this? When you experience the eternal now, that's what this is saying. When there is no past that you draw upon to try and prove your reality, and you are here right now, fully present in the now. Will you lift your voice in praise to the one who has guaranteed your safety, even in every imagined reality, guaranteed your safety? The choice is yours. But remember, you will be bound by the choice that you make, either heaven or separation. When put so clearly, is there really any choice at all? Choosing between reality and dreams that can be beautiful or horrifying. At some point, we have to look past. See, the ego wants to only claim the beautiful, happy dreams, but it wants to reject the horrendous, nightmarish dreams that are taking place all around me. Guess what? They're all together. They're all in your mind. So it's only in your mind that clarity has to come and take hold. Now, I promise, because it's true with me, it's true with all of us, there's still the part of our mind that is going to reject that teaching. Because we still want to cling to what we believe is real. But at least this is a seed. At least this gets planted. And you'll know that a happy outcome to all things is assured. A happy outcome, which is really just waking up into reality, waking up into the real world. Thank you. Yes. So with that, Carmelita is reminding me that it's time to turn it over to Vicky now. So Vicky, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you and have you lead us out of the dream.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh, well, good morning, Brother James. Good morning, everybody. Happy morning. So, first of all, the lesson for today has everything in it. If you have time today, please read it and read it slowly because it has all the escape hatch loops, clauses in it, every one of them. And the first one, when you started, continuity is true here in time and space. It seems to be true, but continuity does not mean validity. Validity, authenticity belongs to what's eternal. Continuity and of temporal is a seeming reality that we have willed for, we've identified ourselves with. So the first escape hatch, and it's in the lesson so beautifully said today, is when we give up an alien will. Those were Jesus's words, and say, thy will be done. Thy will be done. That's the first escape hatch. When you started the prayer, James, this morning, I am here. Along with I am here, for me, thy will be done. That is exactly the place where my will for separation lets go. It can only let go by my choice, not by somebody else's or God's choice. Only my choice, because we were created as the Father with freedom, free will. And when we willingly choose our will, which is already our Father's will, that we are love and that we are here to bless and give, that we are created as the joy of God. What's uncompromising is God. God is uncompromisingly one reality of love extending itself. And when we accept that as the only uncompromising reality we want to be tuned into, then we let go of all these other goals to have things turn out a certain way. And when I do that, all I do is say, thy will be done. I let go of my ideas of what it should look like. And thy will be done becomes that open space of right here, right now. And then right here, right now means I'm only here to love. It is that simple. The continuity and validity of reality is love. And it isn't that I'm looking to get love. I am here to love, to just bless and give. Whether I wake up and find myself in a war zone or in a palace, in a prison or in a beautiful home on a beach, wherever I find myself, my function in time, if I say I am here, thy will be done, I am here to love. And it is that simple. I'm not here to set all the different things in a different order than they appear. I'm here to love and to bless and to recognize that reality is the only reality. That's what's uncompromising. And I want to be uncompromising in accepting it. Acceptance of the truth is what's uncompromising, because we have had this alien will that has compromised all over the place to get things to look a certain way. We're so busy rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's like, I'm tired of that. And so the escape hatch, and particularly in today's lesson, if you read it, thy will be done. I am here. Thy will be done. I am here to love. And then the adventure of what it is to give of ourselves, to give of the love that's in us. It's like opening up not a Pandora's box of misery and problems, but opening up heaven's box within us that has lots of surprises. It's like they kind of just fall out, they cascade out, but they're coming through our willingness to only love. And no one can learn that by reading about it or by attending workshops of it. That's why Namaste is an experience of being the love, being God's love here in time, wherever we find ourselves, because then that experience of I'm here to love comes to life, and we're in the experience of love. It's nothing that we had to learn. It's something we had to allow and to accept. And then the other things dissolve. Our dedication to playing with dream sequences, our fascination with it all, it just falls away because it's nothing compared to the beautiful luminescence of love that's coming through us. Whether I'm in a war zone, I'm here to love. And we've all been in war zones in our lives, in places that look like there was no ultimatum. And the simple escape hatches, thy will be done, I'm here to love. And then watch the joys that come from that come into our direct experience, and then light up the world for those around us. So, Brother James, that's what I have to say this morning. And everybody, thank you all. And I love you all. Thank you.
Nikki, we can't wait for you to be back here. I know everybody's really.
Me too.
We're still looking at February to have you here.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see. I'm trying to set things up for perhaps sooner. So we'll see we'll see together how it unfolds.
Right. Oh, what a blessing. You know, there's one thing you talked about, how God is completely uncompromising in love. Whatever God is completely uncompromising in true love. And what struck me when you said that is when we match that total focus of what is real, when we match that total uncompromising focus on love, that's when we spring into heaven. When we match the uncompromising love that God has with us. You see the key here? When we match that, this is where the spring happens. But when we are less than totally compromising or uncompromising, then we're never going to have that connection. It's like the pieces just flowing together effortlessly. When we match that, heaven is assured. We spring into the light. So it's simple. Match it. Be uncompromising with the way that you love one another. All that's really saying is love no matter what. No matter what it looks like, no matter what someone says, no matter how they act, no matter what, love. Because if you do that, perfect connection. So I would love to turn to Calico, because whenever it comes to referencing the power, the decision and the power of the mind to create reality itself, she always has a lot to say. And then, Scott, we're going to bring you up. So, Calico, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you, James. Yeah, this is the topic of my life, being uncompromising in love. That is the only thing I need to do, period. And it's a full-time job. I mean, it does get easier. You know, now it's like, you know, the mind will go into familiar patterns. I just don't follow it. It's like, I don't have to follow it anymore. And that's just, you know, I didn't learn how to think. You know, my parents, I know this is hard to believe, but my parents did not sit me down and tell me how to think. They just didn't. And I don't know why they didn't. It's like, that would be kind of before even speaking, you know, you'll want to tell your child how to think, you know. And I don't know I was talking to a woman the other day, we were joining, and, you know, just kind of looking at the way that we did learn how to think was by observing how our parents thought. And, you know, I'm not blaming here. I'm just saying this was the reality that I came through on. And, you know, Dad was always, make sure you get them before they get you. And so, and just think about that. Probably not a great setup for loving, and just, and she had similar stories. So we were just laughing hysterically about how just observing our parents, we learned how to think. And mom was always worried about having enough of everything, of anything. She was a Depression era baby. And, so I often remember, God, when I lived out in the mountain, I had this, it was almost a neurotic focus of having enough food in the house. I mean, I bought a small freezer. I had it packed to the gills. I had enough food for, if the world collapsed, I could have lasted at least a year on the food that I had in that house. And I remember thinking, that's like, why do I feel this way? And I was talking to this friend of mine, and it was just kind of, well, that's kind of the way mom was wired, just in case. In fact, I even named my VW bus just in case, because my mother lived her life just in case. Have an extra set of batteries, just in case. Looking at how the whole world revolved around, my thinking of the world revolved around patterns that were shown to me. They were never taught to me, and no one ever talked about them, but I observed them. So now it's really observing the people that love, like I watch you all the time, Vicki. I mean, it's kind of like, just as an inquiry, it's like, look at Vicki, and there's many people, it's not just Vicki. It's like, there's so many people in my life that do just love. And I observe them. And it's just kind of like, as a child would observe a pattern that I don't necessarily have automatically yet, but I want it. And so it's kind of, it's just a different way of reframing the way that my mind works, because it just never learned how to look through love. That, there were a lot of others that were far more visible, and love wasn't a part of it. So, that's just the way it is. And it's a curiosity. I love, it's an experiment every moment. And it's really, and this friend, because she thinks a lot the way I do, and she's also hardwired to look for problems. Because see, my mom was always looking for potential problems. And so, I took that on. And so it's becoming like this hyper vigilant for seeing problems, like, where can this go wrong? What could happen with this? And she's kind of wired in the same way. And it's kind of like, chatting with someone that has that same hard wiring, and then committing together, joining together. And this is the beauty of mighty companions, of let's work on this together, because I get you're thinking kind of in the same vein, and we want to see it a different way. And so it's that joining of mighty companions that can really work on this and join together. And there's a joy that I've never known. This is not agreeing like, oh yeah, that's a bad thing. Oh yeah, that's really bad thing, because that's kind of the way I joined with people before. It's like, let's look at how there's problems, and we'll just look at the problems and join in agreement and, observe the problem. This is like really committing to love, seeing that we both have the same commitment to love, and joining in that process. And it's it's every day is a joy, is all I can say. At some point when I first got the course, I thought, oh, this is going to be really boring. Loving everything is going to be really boring. Boy, not even close. It's like this amazing journey that I find myself on. And it's kind of like just open. And this friend of mine, I just need to say this, sent me something from the master teacher. Now, it must have been made a long time ago. because Claire was on it. And I mean, there were all these people that looked a lot younger. In fact, Amrit, at the very end, your picture came up and I thought, wow, she looks about 10. And it was just, but it was like really hearing, and it was a lot of people. There was lots of people just sharing one or two sentences. And I just thought, this is my family. This is the family I choose to be a part of, you know. And I love my birth family, but I can't join with them on this focus on love. They're still trying to fix things and change things and alter things. And I just love them. But I love when people are committed to love, because there's a place that we can join like no other. And I've never experienced this before. And I must say, it's good. Everybody have a great moment.
Amen. Thank you, Calico. And by the way, I've made an important decision, one that Vicky is not going to like, because Vicky does not like when I get tattoos. And I don't know why, but for some reason that makes me want to get more. So I have decided that maybe you can all help me decide where, somewhere that I can see this. I want a tattoo that says WWVD. What would Vicky do? So I could just look, oh, I'll make that choice. What would Vicky would just love. That's all she would do. So come on up, Scott. We're gonna have Scott lead us out with an impromptu song or whatever else he would like to share.
Thank you.
Come on in.
Oh, glory be.
Glory be.
To sing us out with a song. I think I wrote this when I was still in my 1920s. I mean, at least my 20s. A long time ago. And it was a visitation from Mr. Rogers. And he helped me write the song. And then 2 days later, I found out that he had died.
Oh, wow.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Well, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. My spirit is soaring free. I've taken the weight of the world off my shoulders, found a lighter me. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. There are no locks on the doors. People come out and play every day, and we know what life is for. We laugh at the notion that love is rare. We laugh at the notion of fear. We come to each moment with cupboards bare, open our hearts to the heaven that's here. We open our hearts to the heaven that's here. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, in my body community. My organs and cells get along with each other. Happy biology. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, so we're having a block party. God has decreed there'll be joy in the streets, so we sacrifice self-misery. We laugh at the notion that love is rare. We laugh at the notion of fear. Come to each moment birds bear, and open our hearts to the heaven that's here. We open our hearts to the heaven that's here. Well, it's a beautiful day here at Namaste. Spirit is soaring free, taking the weight of the world off our shoulders, found our unity. It's a beautiful day here at Namaste. Mr. Rogers is singing along. Who would have thought that the journey home would lead me back to his song? Who would have thought that the journey home would lead us all back to his song? A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. That's great. Thank you. Come on. Wow. Well, anytime we can end with a Fred Rogers connection, that's good. Talk about true authenticity. He was exactly as we would like to think that he was. So open, so loving. And when we can be as authentic as Fred Rogers, that's when we know we got it. So thank you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Vicky and Calico. Thanks to all of you. Now let's go out and live this. Be uncompromising with your love. Love no matter what. It's that simple. And let's all get tattoos. WWVB? No, you're not with me? All right. I love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Happy Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you, James.
Bye now.